I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Gem International is a new diamond explorer in the richest diamond-producing country in Africa, located next to the fourth largest producing diamond mine in the world. International Spotlight is on an 1109-carat diamond, recently discovered in Africa by a fellow Canadian junior, with a proven operator and finance team. Gem International trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol GI. Visit us at gemdiamondmining.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Gerald Celente, publisher of the Trends Journal. I love your slogan, history before it happens. Welcome back to the show, Gerald.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Donald Trump has now announced who his vice presidential nominee will be, Mike Pence, governor of Indiana, who brought in one of the most restrictive abortion laws in the U.S. and had proposed a bill that would allow people to fire gay and transgendered people. Is this going to make any difference to the Trump campaign, who he has as vice president?
Sure it will. That's not a positive for him because Hillary Clinton already has a strong following among women. And, that's her trump card. And that's, it's not going to be helpful to him. However, what this election is about in the states is winning electoral votes. So Trump has to win the Rust Belt states, and Indiana is almost one of them. So although Clinton will heavily win the women vote, when you go state by state, that's not going to be enough, we believe, for her to carry a victory, because you're looking at the polls right now; they're running dead even in a lot of the swing states, or she has a little lead in some of them. But in the Rust Belt areas where they're typically Democratic, we believe they're going to go Republican, because the foundation of these campaigns, particularly now, when the numbers are real, I mean, I'm not making them up, 95% of the wealth that has been generated since 2009, since Obama's taken office, has gone to the 1%. And it's a fact. And the fact is that median household income is below 2000 levels. That's a fact. So there was a campaign slogan in Bill Clinton's campaign offices in 1992. And it said, "It's the economy, stupid." And that's all it is. It's the economy. And we think Trump is going to trump her on that. However, this wasn't, as we see it, a very wise selection for him, considering the two things that you mentioned, and that he's already in high negative ratings among women to begin with. After the convention or during the convention, do you expect there will be violence? Yes, unfortunately. We've never seen this before in my lifetime, this kind of violence between the two parties. So you had the 1968 protest at the Chicago Convention, but that was geared toward the Vietnam War. It wasn't about Republicans versus Democrats. And this is the first time we've ever seen this. And it's when you look also at the polls, both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump have extremely high negative ratings. 62% of the people, for example, consider both of them dishonest. I mean, so this is not even a lesser of two evils. It's who do I hate the least, and so we've never seen one like this. And again, I've been in this business, by the way. That's how I began my career. I used to run political campaigns in Westchester County at a graduate school in the early 70s. And Westchester, of course, is right north of New York City, very rich area, richest county in the United States at the time. And I was the assistant to the secretary of the New York State Senate. and I designed and instructed American politics and campaign technology at St. John's University. For Trump to have announced this before the convention, it really took a lot of the air out of it. He left no suspense. It's a rookie move, because, there's not much he's going to say different at the convention or adds any excitement to it. So it was kind of as a person that's very used to this kind of work, I was kind of a bit taken back by the lack of professionalism and the lack of excitement that they generate when they say who they're going to nominate, and so it wasn't a good move as we see it, just on a marketing end.
I know Trump wanted to have celebrities endorse him, but it looks like that plan's really backfired for him too. Instead of having Super Bowl champion Tom Brady address the audience at the Republican convention, instead they've got Tim Tebow, who has been nothing but a loser at quarterback.
Again, it's even to bring, what do I got to hear a celebrity or a football player? It shows you how low the bar has sunk. It's the presidential reality show. It's a freak show. Obama said, in a recent campaign stop with Hillary Clinton in North Carolina, he said, this isn't a reality show, it's not entertainment. And then we went back and we picked up some of Obama's quotes, and that's exactly what he called it when he was running in 2007. He said, with all these cameras up here and all the press out here, it feels like a reality show. They're going to vote you off the island, or you're going to go to Hollywood. I mean, that's basically what he said. So it is a reality show, and all he is a teleprompted, actor. That when Oprah Winfrey took him under her arm and made him a Harpo production back in 2007, that's when the whole campaign changed. He was lagging in the polls behind Clinton. So it's show business for ugly people. That's all this is. And it's a disgrace.
How would you rate Obama's presidency?
George Bush was a murderer who I would like to see brought up to a war crime tribunal, and for all the war on terror that he's launched and all the hatred that he's built throughout the world with the slaughter of 1 million people over in Iraq, the war against Afghanistan. The Afghans did nothing to us. His murderous, disgusting human being, along with Cheney and the rest of them. Obama, to me, is a traitor, a disgusting, arrogant human being who lied his way into office and didn't carry out any of the promises of hope and change you could believe in. Yes, small change. How about change of nothing? Folks, the first day I get into office, he announces, I'm going to close Guantanamo within a year. Yeah? Guantanamo's still open. And then the liberals say, well, he couldn't do it. What do you mean he couldn't do it? He had a Democratic Congress behind him the first 2 years. He launched a war against Libya on his own without asking Congress. You can't close Guantanamo? Hey, no more boots on the ground, folks, in Iraq. Boots are back on the ground. Assad has to go. We're bombing away in Syria. How about the report that came out that they issued on the day before the night of, actually, leading into the 4th of July holiday here in the States? The drone report. How many people Obama's killed? Tried, convicted of nothing. We suspect that they're murderers and they're terrorists. So we suspect it. So we're going to kill them. 4,000 innocent people slaughtered by the murderer-in-chief, according to Reprieve, a group that puts these numbers together. Well, the Obama administration put out their numbers. They said between 64 and 165 in the last few years. So they're liars. The facts are there. And so, no, to me, he's a sellout. I was talking about the Rust Belt before. When he was candidate Obama, campaigning in Ohio and Michigan and the Rust Belt states, he promised to revisit NAFTA because he didn't think it was a good act. And then as soon as he got into office, changed his mind. And now he's pushing the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It takes more rights and more jobs away from Americans. He's a fraud. He's a disgusting, arrogant fraud, as I see him. And again, it's one after another. Look how low the bar has gone. From Bush 1 launching the first Gulf War, to Bill Clinton with his Yugoslav war, bombing Iraq nearly 4 times a week. Go to YouTube. Put in the name Madeleine Albright, former Secretary of State under Clinton. And she's on CBS with Leslie Stahl. And Leslie Stahl asks her, for the price of 500,000 Iraqi children under the age of 5 that are now dead because of Bill Clinton's sanctions, worth it? And she said, yes, they are. Oh, Bill, so it's one disgusting human. Bill Clinton, the guy that deregulated the Federal Communications Act. Now we have 6 companies that control 90% of the media. Bill Clinton, that deregulated the Glass-Steagall Act, that allowed the banks to become the bandits that they are and rob all our dough. Bill Clinton, you folks like those GMOs and bovine growth hormones? So again, it's one low-life, disgusting human being as I see them. They don't represent me. And they don't represent the America that is based on the Constitution that was the envy of the world.
Should Obama have to give back the $1 million Nobel Peace Prize?
He's a piece of crap prize. They gave it to people like Kissinger and other murderers as well. He's a fraud. What difference would it make? Look again. Look what he did to Libya. Look what they did to Libya. Destroyed a country that did nothing to us. Nothing.
Donald Trump has been praising Saddam Hussein, saying, look, he killed terrorists. He didn't ask questions. It sounds like he wants to round up people, not ask questions, and kill them too.
Well, again, they're psychopaths. You look what's going on in France now as we speak. I'm going to read to you. This is from the Trends. This is a letter to the subscribers, the Trends Journal, and it's in 2013, January. When the French launched their first assaults, we said once again. You said you like to quote history before it happens. I said once again we wrote history before it happens. When the French launched their first assaults, it was certain that this time the threat of revenge was no bluff. In fact, I was so sure that they were a harbinger that I changed my personal introduction in the Trends Journal to warn subscribers that the payback trend I had been predicting was about to begin. And what I was doing is, just before this, there was a deadly Algerian hostage crisis. And it was a revenge by the Islamists in response to France's military strike into Mali. People forget this. They can't get over that French colonial trip. They went back into Mali right after Obama destroyed Syria and caused all that disruption over there. And here's the quote I had. The Mali civil war, which has already turned 300,000 of its citizens into refugees, is only one of the many conflicts inflaming the region. Yet, from here to Timbuktu, for all those listening, a loud message was sent by Mali rebels that could be heard around the world. Quote, Mali Islamists threatened to retaliate at the heart of France. Today they threaten payback. And that was in the Christian Science Monitor, the headline the day after the French incursion. Mali Islamists threaten to retaliate at the heart of France. And then we go on to write about how Obama destabilized the entire region with overthrowing Gaddafi. And then arming the rebels, those arms, and as we all know, part of what happened with the Benghazi debacle was that they were giving arms to, quote, moderate rebels to overthrow Assad. So the it's the Americans, NATO allies, that have caused the terrorism trend. You kill millions of people in foreign countries. You think they want to pay back? Right or wrong, I'm not saying it's right, but if somebody comes up to Vancouver and destroys the entire city and all the surrounding areas and everybody you love is dead and you have no future in front of you, you think you become radicalized? How many more wars does America and the NATO allies have to start in the name of bringing freedom and democracy to other countries before they see the results of this? So when you talk about a Nobel Peace Prize, it's a Nobel piece of crap.
We'll have more with Gerald Celente right after the break.
I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Gem International is a new diamond explorer in the richest diamond producing country in Africa, located next to the fourth largest producing diamond mine in the world. International Spotlight is on an 1109 carat diamond recently discovered in Africa by a fellow Canadian junior with a proven operator and finance team. Gem International trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol GI. Visit us at gemdiamondmining.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Gerald Celente. Canada has sent 1,000 troops to Latvia and 6 fighter jets, they say, to bolster NATO. Is this cage rattling, trying to inflame Putin?
Well, it's definitely cage rattling, but it also does. I'm sure nobody up in Canada needs the money, more so than to waste it doing that. And this whole the propaganda against Putin is astounding. You read the media, and they have terms in there like Russia invaded Crimea. Russia never invaded Crimea. They were in Crimea, and Ukraine was part of Crimea was part of Russia longer than America's been a country. So the propaganda just keeps going on, and there's no end in sight to it. And they just had that meeting in Moscow with NATO, and it was all war drums beating. Russia hasn't been. Oh, yeah, I think it was Russia, wasn't it, that overthrew Gaddafi? No, it was Russia that overthrew Saddam Hussein. No, I think it's Russia that destabilized Sudan. No, it couldn't have been America that worked for the division of that country. Now, and now you have your liberal Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He just pledged to strengthen Canada's alliance with the far-right Ukrainian government when he was over there in that Moscow meeting. So, it just keeps going on and on. Then this rapid reaction force that they're putting there, that Canada's putting soldiers into, 40,000 troops in the region in a matter of days. And so what they just did in Canada, they have a trade deal now with Ukraine. It was formally signed by Trudeau and Petro Poroshenko on July 11th. So it's more just corruption. Free trade is to provide this much needed political support for the corrupt Kiev government that's falling apart right now. And if the free trade deal is also a defense cooperation agreement. So expect Canada to arm manufacturers to start selling weapons to Kiev.
The World Court in The Hague has ruled that China should not be building artificial islands in the South China Sea. Is that going to have any impact on China's plan to keep building them?
No. And again, when you look at that was instigated by the United States when Aquino's government in running the Philippines to do that. And the Hague Tribunal has no power of enforcement, and other countries are claiming islands as well. And to us, it's none of our business. Let them settle it. But America's pivot to Asia now, they're instigating the Chinese as well by even going within 12 nautical miles of islands, these little dots in the ocean that China's claiming. And then the hypocrisy of it, Jim, is that while the United States criticizes China for disobeying this UN regulation or resolution that says that the freedom of of the oceans, there's a resolution regarding this. The United States is not a signatory to it. But yet here they are shooting their mouth off about, what South China Sea should be and what they should be doing, and on and on and on, as they're not part of the agreement. So it's the hypocrisy that you just keep seeing over and over again. And China is not going to abide by it. And who's going to stop them? With the United States? They're going after Russia now. They're going after China along with NATO. And let's make this clear. They can't win a war in Iraq. They can't win in Afghanistan. The United States military has not won a war since World War II. So they're going to beat China and Russia. Come on. Yeah, they'll beat them. They'll send us to nuclear war, and it'll be the last thing. When they asked Einstein, how will the Third World War be fought? He said, I don't know. He said, but the fourth will be fought with sticks and stones. So when you have these imbeciles keep poking the bear and going after China, World War II, World War III may be on the doorstep.
Brexit. Theresa May, the new British Prime Minister, has appointed Boris Johnson as her foreign minister. He's the former mayor of London. Now, Boris insulted pretty well every leader in Europe when he was mayor of London. What's his prospect as being foreign minister?
Oh, what difference does it make? It's all one club. They all say these things. It's the Eton boys. You look at the data. You look at this from France, the same thing. Two schools. You look at America. It's Harvard, Princeton, Yale. It's the Bullets, Banks, and Bombs Club. They all play the game. So the important thing about Brexit, by the way, as we see it, it shows that people think they can't do anything. And despite all of the world leaders, beginning with Obama, Abe from Japan, going to the UK, all of the people on Wall Street, the IMF, one after another, warning the people not to exit, they vote to Brexit, 52-48. And if that woman Jo Cox wasn't killed, the parliament member, it would have even been higher. And she was killed a week before the vote, and she was a very staunch Remain candidate. So that even brought the vote down lower. What I'm saying, Jim, is the opportunity for people to take the future in their own hands. And like the people that we're talking about, Obama, Boris Johnson, Bush, how about Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck? Who are these people with their attitudes? That they're better than we are. So what people don't realize, and what Brexit showed, is that the people have the power to create the future they choose, and they don't have to be ruled by the elites in their closed club parties. And that's what Brexit really showed, and you're going to see more referendums sparking up around Europe to exit the EU.
Gerald, thank you very much for chatting with us.
Thanks for having me on.
My guest has been Gerald Celente, publisher of the Trends Journal, and he was speaking to us from historic Kingston, New York. Thanks for listening. I'm Jim Goddard.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.